What if the new girl everyone ignored turned out to be the one person who could bring the school's toughest bully to his knees? The story begins with Maya Williams, a quiet new student stepping off a yellow school bus in front of Clearview High in Houston, Texas. Her grip tightens around her backpack straps as she takes in the scene. The laughter, the chatter, the familiar clusters of friends who've known each other since kindergarten. For most students, it's just another Monday morning. For Maya, it's the start of yet another new beginning. Her fourth school in 3 years. She doesn't crave attention. She doesn't need friends. She just wants peace. Her plan: stay invisible, stay quiet, and maybe, just maybe, make it through the semester without becoming anyone's target. But as fate often does, it has other plans. Inside, Clearview High beats with its own rhythm. Slamming lockers, squeaky sneakers, and a social order that's been carved into stone. At the top of it all stands Bryce Carter, the golden boy, the star quarterback, the kind of guy who makes people laugh just so they won't become the next punchline. He's tall, confident, and terrifyingly untouchable. Students orbit around him like planets around the sun, either drawn to his charm or afraid of his shadow. And when Maya walks past him for the very first time, she immediately recognizes the type. She's met kids like him before, the kind who measure their worth by how small they can make others feel. So she keeps her head down, her footsteps light, hoping to slip through unnoticed. But then it happens. That single cruel moment that changes everything. A deliberate shove. Her books hit the ground. Laughter ripples through the hallway. And standing above her, arms crossed and smirking, is Bryce Carter himself. "Haven't seen you before," he says, his voice dripping with amusement. The hallway stills, waiting for her to stutter, to flinch, to fall apart. But Maya doesn't. She picks up her books in silence and brushes past him. The laughter falters, confusion setting in. Bryce calls after her, "Hey, where are your manners?" But still she doesn't stop. She's been here before, and she knows better than to feed a bully's ego. Then Bryce grabs her backpack, just enough to make her stop. The air tightens. Students turn, all eyes on the new girl. She finally looks up, locking eyes with him, calm, steady, unshaken. And in that quiet moment, something shifts. "You shouldn't have done that," she says softly. No yelling, no tears, just a calm warning. The kind that carries weight far beyond her words. Bryce laughs it off, but deep down, something in him stirs. Something he can't quite name, because Maya Williams isn't like anyone he's ever bullied before. And he has no idea just how much those 5 words are going to change his life. If you're ready to see what happens when a bully picks on the wrong girl, when quiet strength meets unchecked arrogance, stay tuned. This story is only getting started. And if you love stories about power, redemption, and unexpected heroes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because you won't want to miss what happens next. What happens when the most feared guy in school finally meets someone who isn't afraid of him? After a long first day at Clearview High, Maya Williams thinks the worst is behind her. She survived the stares, the whispers, and that humiliating moment with Bryce Carter, the school's golden boy who's used to getting away with everything. But as she steps out into the warm Houston afternoon, she hears it again. That voice. "Hey, new girl." Bryce stands a few feet away, hands in his pockets, that same smug grin plastered on his face. His friends linger behind him, eager to watch round 2. He takes a slow step forward, his tone mocking, playful, but with an edge meant to intimidate. "You got an attitude problem, you know that?" Maya sighs quietly. She's not scared, just tired. "What do you want, Bryce?" He smirks. "What? You think you're better than me or something?" For the first time, Maya smiles. Not nervously, but knowingly. "I think," she says slowly, "you should walk away." Bryce chuckles, tilting his head like she's just told a joke. "And why's that?" Maya steps closer, her voice low and steady. "Because you have no idea who I am. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Calm, controlled, and deliberate." Bryce raises an eyebrow, still amused, but deep down something feels off. He can't quite put his finger on it, Before he can respond, the roar of an engine slices through the tension. Heads turn. Down the street, a black Dodge Charger Hellcat glides toward the curb, its engine growling like thunder. It's the kind of car that makes people stare, the kind of power that announces itself before it even stops. The windows are tinted, but everyone recognizes the man behind the wheel the moment it rolls down. Vin Diesel. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Phones come out. Bryce's smirk disappears completely. Maya turns back to him, her expression calm, almost amused. "Still think I'm just some random girl?" she asks softly. Bryce doesn't respond. He can't. For the first time, the self-proclaimed king of Clearview High is speechless. Vin leans slightly out of the window, his deep voice cutting through the silence. "Get in, kid." Without another word, Maya walks past Bryce, her footsteps steady, her head high. The crowd watches in disbelief as she opens the passenger door and slides in beside Vin Diesel. The Charger growls again, tires gripping the pavement as it pulls away, leaving behind a stunned hallway of whispers and wide eyes. Inside the car, neither of them speaks for a moment. The city blurs past in streaks of gold and orange as the sun dips low over Houston. Finally, Vin glances over with a smirk. "That was kind of dramatic, don't you think?" Maya lets out a quiet laugh. "Maybe a little." "You weren't scared of him, were you?" Vin asks. She shakes her head. "No, just waiting for the right moment." Vin chuckles. That familiar deep laugh that carries both pride and amusement. "You sound like me when I was your age," Maya grins. "That's a scary thought." The tension melts, replaced by the comfortable silence of two people who understand each other. But as the Charger disappears down the road, one truth lingers in the air. The balance of power at Clearview High has shifted forever. Bryce Carter thought he ruled the school, but now the game has changed. And if you want to see how far Maya's quiet strength will push the unstoppable bully, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the tables have only just begun to turn. By the next morning, Clearview High is on fire with gossip. Whispers drift through hallways like wildfire. "Did you see it? Was that really Vin Diesel? Who even is this new girl?" Everywhere Maya walks, heads turn. Some students stare in awe, some in envy, and others in fear. But no one looks more unsettled than Bryce Carter. The golden boy of Clearview isn't laughing today. He's quieter. His smirk is gone, replaced with something else. Bruised pride. His friends huddle around him, whispering about how the new girl embarrassed him. And Bryce's jaw tightens every time her name comes up. To him, this isn't over. It's personal now. At lunch, the tension hits its breaking point. Maya walks through the cafeteria with her tray, scanning for a quiet corner where she can sit alone. The noise dies down as she passes Bryce's table. His friends nudge each other, waiting for him to make a move. He doesn't, not yet, but his sidekick, Ryan, decides to earn some points. As Maya walks by, Ryan sticks out his foot, subtle but deliberate. Her foot catches, her tray tilts, and the lunchroom gasps. But instead of falling, she catches herself. Smooth, calm, controlled. The jocks burst out laughing. "Careful there, princess," Ryan sneers. Maya exhales slowly, sets her tray down on the table, and looks him dead in the eye. "I just didn't realize cavemen still existed," she says coolly. The cafeteria explodes. Not with laughter at her, but at him. The color drains from Ryan's face, and Bryce's smirk twitches with anger. For the first time, Maya's words cut through their armor of arrogance. She walks away without another word, sitting at her table like nothing happened. She eats her lunch calmly while Bryce's table stews in silence. But Bryce Carter isn't used to losing control, and humiliation is something he doesn't take lightly. By the end of the day, the whispers have changed again. Now it's not about Maya and Vin Diesel. It's about what Bryce is going to do next. When Maya reaches her locker, she doesn't have to wonder long. Her books are scattered across the floor. The metal is covered in marker. Crude words, ugly drawings, a petty act of revenge. A crowd gathers quietly, waiting for the explosion, waiting to see the new girl cry. But Maya doesn't give them that satisfaction. She kneels, picks up her books one by one, and places them neatly back inside. Her hands don't shake. Her face doesn't flinch. When she closes her locker, she does it gently. No anger, no tears, no words. From across the hallway, Bryce watches. He's expecting her to yell, to break, to fight back. But she doesn't. And that silence? It rattles him more than any comeback ever could. Because deep down, he realizes something terrifying. He can't control her. And for someone like Bryce Carter, that's the beginning of the end. Maya walks away without looking back, and the hallway buzzes with something new. Not fear, but respect. If you've ever seen what happens when calm beats chaos, when silence speaks louder than revenge, keep watching. Because Maya Williams is just getting started, and if you're rooting for her, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because this story is about to hit a whole new level. That evening, the low rumble of Vin Diesel's black Charger fills the quiet Houston driveway. Inside the house, the tension of the day still lingers. Maya sits at the kitchen table, her books pushed aside, her mind replaying every smirk, every whisper, every cruel scribble on her locker. Vin leans against the counter, arms crossed, studying her like a man who's seen battles before. "You look like someone who's planning something," he says. Maya glances up, a small smile tugging at her lips. "They trashed my locker today." Vin raises an eyebrow. "That's the best they've got?" She shrugs. "For now." He tilts his head, curious. "So what's your move?" Maya leans back, her expression calm but calculating. "I'm not going to do anything." Vin chuckles, a low, knowing sound. "That doesn't sound like you." "I don't need to fight back," Maya says quietly. "He's already doing it for me." Vin studies her for a moment, then nods slowly, understanding. "You're going to let him dig his own grave." Exactly. Maya's eyes harden with focus. She's seen this pattern before. People like Bryce always need control, always crave a reaction. Take that away and they start to unravel. Bullies survive on power, she explains. They need an audience. They need fear. When you stop giving them that, they start to panic. Vin smiles, pride flickering behind his calm demeanor. "Smart. You're playing the long game." Maya nods. "He thinks he's winning, but every time he tries to humiliate me, he's just showing everyone how small he really is." The next morning, her theory begins to unfold. At Clearview High, the whispers haven't stopped. They've evolved. What started as gossip about the girl with Vin Diesel has turned into something else entirely. Now students are questioning the king himself. "Did you hear what Bryce did to her locker? That's kind of messed up. Why's he so obsessed with her?" The cracks in Bryce's image spread fast. His charm, once magnetic, now feels forced. The laughter around him doesn't sound the same. It's hesitant, uneasy. Even his closest friends are starting to wonder if he's gone too far. And through it all, Maya stays quiet. She doesn't retaliate. She doesn't explain. She walks through the halls with calm confidence, and her silence speaks volumes. Every step she takes without flinching makes Bryce look weaker. Every ignored insult, every steady glance, it exposes his insecurity like sunlight through glass. Bryce Carter, the untouchable quarterback, is losing his grip, and he doesn't even realize it yet. Back home, when Maya tells Vin how the day went, he just nods knowingly. "Patience, huh?" he says. "Patience," she repeats with a faint smile, the kind that hurts more than any punch ever could. Because Maya understands something most people don't. Power isn't about being loud. It's about being in control when everyone else loses theirs. And as Bryce begins to crumble under the weight of his own arrogance, Maya's calm strength becomes impossible to ignore. If you've ever seen someone win by saying nothing at all, you know exactly what's coming next. Stay tuned, because Maya's quiet revenge is only getting sharper. And if you believe in the strength of staying calm under pressure, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and watch what happens when silence becomes the ultimate weapon. The cafeteria at Clearview High hums with energy. Trays clattering, laughter bouncing off the walls, the usual midday chaos of teenage life. But beneath the surface there's tension, thick and electric. Everyone knows something's coming. Everyone's waiting for it. At the center of the room sits Bryce Carter, once the unshakable king of the school, surrounded by his usual entourage. But lately, his throne has felt a little unstable. The whispers about him haven't stopped. The respect in people's eyes has been replaced by curiosity, and even a hint of pity. He hates it, and today, he's going to take back control. When Maya Williams walks into the cafeteria, carrying her tray with quiet confidence, the noise begins to fade. All eyes drift toward her. Not in mockery this time, but in anticipation. Bryce leans back in his chair, smirking. "Hey, Maya," he calls out, his voice loud enough to hush the room. "You still crying about your little locker?" A few chuckles echo from his table, but they sound forced, uncertain. Bryce is desperate for the reaction he used to command. Maya doesn't flinch. She sets her tray down, looks up at him, and says nothing. That silence alone rattles him. Bryce leans forward, louder now, pushing harder. "What's wrong? Gonna have your big, famous dad handle it for you?" That gets a few laughs. Weak, nervous ones. But Maya just tilts her head slightly, her calm gaze never leaving his. When she finally speaks, her voice cuts through the noise like a blade. "It's funny," she says evenly. "You keep bringing up my dad like you're not the one who almost passed out when you saw him." The room goes dead silent. Forks stop midair. Bryce freezes, his face flushing red as the memory hits. The roar of the charger. The man behind the wheel. The moment his confidence cracked in front of everyone. The silence stretches, heavy and suffocating. Bryce forces a laugh, trying to recover. "You think you're tough, huh? Walking around like you own the place just because of some famous guy?" Maya's expression doesn't change. "No," she says calmly. "I just don't need to prove anything." And that's it. That one line dismantles him completely. Because Bryce's entire identity, his swagger, his control, his arrogance, all of it depends on being seen as the strongest. But Maya's power doesn't need validation. Her quiet certainty makes his loud bravado look pathetic. Bryce clenches his jaw, his knuckles whitening under the table. For the first time, people aren't laughing with him. They're watching him crumble. The king of Clearview High, undone by a single girl who refuses to play his game. Maya picks up her fork, takes a bite of her lunch, and looks at him one last time. "You know what your problem is, Bryce? You're scared, not of me, of becoming irrelevant, of waking up one day and realizing no one cares anymore." His composure cracks like glass, because deep down, she's right. Bryce Carter's entire world revolves around control. And Maya has stripped that away without raising her voice or lifting a finger. He wanted a reaction, a fight, a scene. But she gave him something far worse: truth. And as the whispers start again, this time about him, Bryce feels it for the first time. The loss of power, the loss of control, the slow, agonizing unraveling of his own image. Maya finishes her lunch in silence, leaving him to stew in the wreckage of his pride. Because real power doesn't come from fear. It comes from understanding it and using it. If you've ever faced someone who thought they could break you, remember Maya's lesson. Calm beats chaos every time. Don't miss what happens next, because Bryce Carter's fall is far from over. Hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next chapter, where patience, truth, and karma all collide. That night, Houston's skyline glows softly in the distance, the hum of traffic filling the quiet space between words. Inside the garage, Vin Diesel's black Charger gleams under the dim light as he wipes down the hood. A ritual, something steady and familiar. Maya sits nearby on a folding chair, her backpack at her feet, lost in thought. She's not angry, not proud either, just thoughtful. Vin glances over at her. "You've been quiet," he says. She looks up. "He's falling apart, Vin. You can see it in his face. Every time he tries to mess with me, it backfires. It's like he's fighting shadows." Vin chuckles softly, setting the towel aside. "You're in his head, kid. That's more dangerous than any punch you could throw." Maya smiles faintly, but there's no triumph in her eyes, only reflection. Sometimes I wonder if I should stop, just end it. Vin crosses his arms, studying her. You could! One post online, one video, one word from you, and he'd be done. His reputation, his fake confidence, gone overnight. He pauses, then adds, "But you're not going to do that, are you?" She shakes her head slowly. "No, I don't need to destroy him. He's already doing that himself. If I step in, it just becomes revenge, and I don't want that. I want him to see what he's done and choose to stop." Vin's expression softens. There's pride in his voice when he says, "That's not weakness, Maya. That's strength. The kind most people never learn." Maya leans back, staring at the glimmering car. Everyone thinks strength means fighting back. But sometimes, it's knowing when not to. Vin nods. Exactly. Anybody can swing. Few can stand still. The silence that follows isn't empty. It's powerful. It's the kind of silence that carries meaning. The kind that says this is how change happens. At school, that quiet strength begins to ripple outward. Students notice the difference. The way Maya never raises her voice, never gossips, never retaliates. And yet somehow, she wins every battle without ever throwing a punch. Even teachers see it. The subtle shift in energy around her. People start to admire her composure, the way she carries herself with dignity while Bryce's confidence continues to crumble. His jokes fall flat. His followers drift away. And still, Maya says nothing. Her restraint becomes her greatest weapon. Her patience, her control, her refusal to sink to his level. All of it sends a message louder than any confrontation ever could. Because true strength isn't about destroying others. It's about mastering yourself. And Maya Williams, the quiet new girl who once just wanted to survive, has done exactly that. Vin catches her eye before she heads inside for the night. "You know," he says with a grin, "I've worked with a lot of tough people, but you've got the kind of strength they write stories about." Maya laughs softly. "Maybe one day they'll believe it." "Oh, they will," Vin replies, "because sooner or later people always see the difference between noise and power." Maya smiles, calm, grounded, unshaken. "Then I guess I'll just keep being quiet." As she walks inside, the Charger's engine roars to life, echoing her unspoken truth. That sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's dominance. And that's the moral that rises from the chaos. Real power doesn't come from revenge. It comes from integrity. If you believe that strength isn't about shouting the loudest, but standing the tallest, then you're already part of Maya's story. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because in a world obsessed with power, the quiet ones are often the most unstoppable of all. The morning begins like any other. Sunlight filtering through the glass doors of Clearview High, the hum of conversation, the shuffle of sneakers on tile. But something feels different. There's a strange tension in the air, a buzz that spreads faster than gossip ever should. Students gather near the main hallway, voices low, eyes wide. At the center of the crowd stands Bryce Carter's locker, plastered with dozens of printed screenshots. His words, his messages, every cruel joke, every mocking comment, every racist and sexist insult he ever sent to classmates, teachers, and even his own teammates. The evidence is undeniable. His private cruelty is now public record. And in an instant, the golden boy of Clearview High is stripped bare. Whispers ripple through the hallway. Disbelief, shock, disgust. He actually said that? No wonder he acted so perfect. He was hiding this. Guess we know who Bryce really is now. Bryce arrives moments later, laughing with his friends, until he sees it. The color drains from his face. His laughter dies. He pushes through the crowd, tearing the papers down with trembling hands. "Who did this?" he shouts, his voice cracking under the weight of panic. No one answers. No one helps him. Even his closest friends hang back, their eyes filled not with loyalty, but disappointment. His best friend Ryan mutters, "Man, I can't believe you said this stuff," before walking away. Just like that, the empire collapses. The cafeteria laughs are gone. The admiration, the fear, gone. Bryce Carter, the untouchable, is suddenly alone. And then he sees her. Maya Williams stands a few feet away, calm as ever, watching him quietly. She doesn't smile. She doesn't gloat. She just stands there, composed, steady. The picture of control. Bryce storms toward her, fury burning behind his eyes. "You did this," he snaps. "You think you can ruin me? You think you can just—" Maya cuts him off with a calm, even tone. "Bryce, I didn't do this." He freezes. Her voice doesn't shake, her eyes don't flinch. There's something in her composure that makes everyone around them believe her instantly. "I don't need to expose you," she says quietly. "You already did that yourself." The hallway falls silent. Bryce's jaw tightens, his words caught somewhere between rage and shame. For a moment it looks like he might shout again, but he can't. Because deep down, he knows she's right. Everything on those papers came from him. Every cruel word was his own. The truth has finally done what Maya never had to. Destroyed him. Students begin to walk away, shaking their heads, whispering under their breath. Bryce stands there, surrounded by the wreckage of his own making. The very thing he feared most, irrelevance. He turns, muttering under his breath, and storms out of the building. No one follows. No one calls after him. Maya watches him go, her face unreadable. Then she turns, picks up one of the fallen papers, folds it neatly, and throws it away. No drama, no speech, just quiet finality, because this was never about revenge. It was about truth finding its way to the surface, and letting the guilty destroy themselves. And in that moment, Maya's calm silence says everything. The bully is gone. The crowd has seen the truth. The balance of power has shifted forever. If you've ever waited for karma to catch up, this is what it looks like. Slow, inevitable, honest. Maya didn't need to fight. She just needed to stay true. And as Bryce Carter walks out of Clearview High, humiliated, exposed, and utterly alone, the lesson becomes crystal clear. Real justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. If that gave you chills, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because Maya's story isn't over yet. The fall of Bryce Carter was just the beginning of something much bigger. The halls of Clearview High feel different now. There's a subtle shift in the air, a quiet energy that wasn't there before. Students move with ease. Whispers that once carried tension now carry curiosity, laughter, and the occasional nod of respect. At the center of it all, Maya Williams walks calmly through the corridors. She doesn't strut, she doesn't boast. She just moves with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the game is over. And she's won. Bryce Carter's empire of fear has crumbled. His friends have drifted away. The intimidation, the arrogance, the so-called untouchable status, all gone, leaving only the truth behind. Maya doesn't need to celebrate. She doesn't need to gloat. The collapse is visible enough for everyone to see. That afternoon, she steps outside to find Vin Diesel leaning against his Charger, calm and steady as ever. The corners of his mouth twitch into a proud smirk. "You didn't even throw a punch," he says quietly. "I didn't have to," Maya replies, a soft smile tugging at her lips. "He did all the work himself." Vin nods, respect clear in his eyes. "That's real strength. The kind people rarely see coming." Maya leans back, feeling the weight that's been pressing on her chest for weeks finally lift. There's no rush, no adrenaline spike, no vindictive thrill, just peace. She knows she didn't need to fight physically to assert herself. Her intelligence, patience, and integrity were more than enough. For the first time since she arrived at Clearview High, she allows herself to relax. Lunchrooms, hallways, and classrooms no longer feel like battlefields. They feel like spaces where she can be herself, confident, strong, unshakable. And as she looks at Vin, she realizes the most important lesson she's learned. Power doesn't come from fear or intimidation. It doesn't come from volume, threats, or physical dominance. Real power comes from patience, integrity, and knowing yourself well enough to let the truth work for you. In that moment, Maya's silent victory feels complete. Bryce Carter may have tried to control the school, tried to humiliate her, tried to intimidate everyone around him. But he underestimated her in the one way that mattered: her ability to stay calm, think ahead, and rise above the chaos. Truth has prevailed, patience has won, and Maya has discovered a confidence she never thought she could own. She slides into the passenger seat of Vin's Charger, the city stretching out before her. The sun casts warm streaks across the dashboard, and for the first time, she can truly enjoy the ride, because sometimes the quiet ones don't just survive, they thrive. If you believe in the power of patience, the strength in restraint, and the quiet victory of integrity, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Because the story of Maya Williams proves that the most powerful victories are often the ones you never see coming. By now, the hallways of Clearview High tell a new story, one that doesn't revolve around fear, popularity, or intimidation. Instead, it's a story of growth, resilience, and quiet power. When Maya Williams first stepped onto campus, she was invisible, another transfer student, hoping to go unnoticed, hoping to survive. She kept her head down, avoided attention, and let the social hierarchy pass her by. But beneath that calm exterior was a mind sharp as a blade, a heart steady under pressure, and a strategy carefully unfolding. Bryce Carter, on the other hand, thought he ruled the school. The star quarterback, untouchable, feared by everyone, he thrived on control and intimidation. But his arrogance was his weakness. Every cruel joke, every insult, every attempt to humiliate others piled up. And Maya simply waited, patient, composed, and unshaken. With every calculated move, Maya transformed from the quiet newcomer into a self-assured strategist. She didn't raise her voice, she didn't retaliate physically, and she didn't seek revenge. Instead, she used restraint, intelligence, and timing as her weapons. By the time Bryce realized he had lost control, it was too late. His friends drifted away, his reputation collapsed, and he was left exposed and isolated, a cautionary tale of arrogance undone by his own actions. Through it all, Vin Diesel remained a steady presence, mentor, father figure, and symbol of strength and loyalty. He guided her, supported her, and provided a living example of how power can be wielded responsibly. He didn't intervene. He didn't fight her battles. Instead, he taught her the value of patience, judgment, and strategic thinking, lessons that would last a lifetime. The story isn't just about revenge or high school drama. It's about control, justice, self-awareness, and moral courage. Maya's triumph wasn't loud or flashy, but it was complete. She proved that the real power doesn't come from intimidation, aggression, or fear. It comes from understanding the situation, assessing your opponent, and responding with calm intelligence. Emotionally, the core of this journey is clear. True strength comes from within, from strategy and patience, not fists or threats. Maya's victory is as much internal as it is external. Confidence, self-respect, and moral clarity are her lasting weapons. By the end, Maya isn't just surviving Clearview High, she's thriving. Bryce isn't a threat anymore. He's a lesson. Vin isn't just a protector. He's a guide to the strength that comes from patience and wisdom. And for everyone watching, the lesson is powerful. Intelligence, integrity, and self-control will always outlast fear and aggression. If Maya's journey inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and share this story. Because the quiet ones aren't just surviving, they're changing the game. The story of Maya Williams concludes not with a fight, a shout, or a dramatic confrontation, but with something far more powerful: moral victory. She never had to throw a punch, never had to yell, never had to escalate the conflict. Instead, Maya relied on patience, strategy, and self-control, letting truth and integrity do the work for her. Every move was calculated, every silence intentional, and in the end, that restraint became her greatest weapon. Bryce Carter, the once untouchable star quarterback, serves now as a cautionary tale. His fear-based power, built on intimidation and control, crumbled when faced with someone who refused to react the way he expected. Every attempt to assert dominance only exposed his insecurities, and the school watched his empire of fear collapse in real time. Through Maya's journey, we see a new definition of strength emerge. It's not about aggression. It's not about popularity or fear. Real strength comes from insight, patience, and understanding your own power without needing to flaunt it. Maya teaches us that sometimes the quietest people wield the loudest influence. And through it all, Vin Diesel remains a guiding presence, a mentor, a father figure, a symbol of integrity and loyalty. His role underscores the importance of guidance, trust, and having someone to show you the difference between brute force and true strength. His calm support empowers Maya to act with confidence, showing that mentorship and family can shape not just decisions, but character. The ultimate takeaway from Maya's story is clear. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Their silence is not weakness, it's preparation. Their restraint is not passivity, it's power. And when they choose to act, thoughtfully, intelligently, and morally, the impact can be unstoppable. So remember this the next time someone seems small, quiet, or invisible. That might just be the person who holds more strength than anyone realizes. The one who can change the game entirely without ever raising their voice. If Maya's journey inspired you, like this video, subscribe for more stories of strategy and resilience, and share this message. Because sometimes the quietest victories are the most powerful ones.